What? Ah! Hello.
What's up?
Our flight got cancelled. We're not meant to be here.
What the hell's going on?
We're trapped.
Dan and Phil coming to you live from the Med.
Yeah.
On a holiday.
Dan doesn't think this t-shirt is appropriate for the resort. Everyone is dressed in all these linen-y, nice things, and I'm just like,
Rodin Boy summer on.
hey!
If you can hear, there's some cicadas going absolutely batshite in the background. This is why Japanese people get really angry in the summer. Imagine this for 3 months. Why are we here?
I nearly died the other week, which for Phil, it's a typical Tuesday.
We can laugh about it now.
Yeah.
At the time, it was genuinely quite traumatic. And this
was.
isn't just your typical YouTube clickbait.
No.
OMG, I stubbed my toe.
This is like...
It was a whole shebang, and the bang was my ass. I'm no stranger to talking about...
That is a really horrible thing without the context. And I think you're going to have to wait like a minute before you get that context.
I'm no stranger to talking about my ass on the internet. I've done a whole colonoscopy video, and I think
you need them. Medical checkups.
Be allowed to talk about your butt.
Get that camera up your butt.
Yes, and I want people to not feel ashamed to see a doctor about butt issues.
All the holes.
I'm going to be
doctors stick in the
open about my hole.
Phil's ass and his mind and his mouth are open for
They
business.
are. So this video contains a lot of butt stuff and also a lot of blood. So if you're not feeling vibey with that, it's fine.
But I don't think we're going to be
out.
like gross or scary. I think it's more just kind of like medically interesting. So if you can hold it together, it's educational.
It is educational.
Like the guy who showed his
YouTube.
It's
Stop.
educational.
Stop.
Okay. So why am I here? If this is your anecdote?
You're integral to the story, and I know if I said this all myself, you'd be like, I didn't do that in that way.
Well, the thing is, you were unconscious for a reasonable part of the story.
You are the jigsaw piece that we're missing.
I am Jigsaw.
Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun.
Phil
Dun,
Lester,
dun, dun, dun.
you've been clickbaiting on YouTube for too long. If you really want to give these people a story, I'm going to make you fight for the right to do it ever again.
Before we kick off, you should kick yourself off to our danandphiltour.com website.
Whoa.
We are going on tour.
Phil will be alive.
Yes.
And in your town.
And
so before this happens again, come see us.
It would mean so much to see you in the audience. And we're going all over the world. Australia,
Europe.
USA,
the UK.
Ireland.
Yep.
Look,
this list.
Look at them.
European countries, lots of American places.
Yeah.
We definitely know where all of those are.
So if you saw my last ass video, I had a colonoscopy.
The ass saga.
Yes.
The Sarg ass.
They recommended I have another one in 2 or 3 years later. The time came, it was fine, shoved a camera up there, I went a bit loopy, didn't talk about Mario Kart this time while watching the screen. Wow. So they were going along, having a swim up my ass channel.
Oh God, I hate this so much.
And
can I go until it's my time?
And the doctor was just like, oh, there's a little something here. I'm just going to chop it out so we can do a biopsy. I was like, cool, okay, do it. Everything was fine. Got the results back. Nothing wrong with it.
Phil comes home.
Go on with your
walks
life.
A bit funny.
Yeah.
Typical Tuesday.
Bit of a waddle. 10 days
later.
My butt is feeling good. I'm raring for my rodent boy summer.
What the
I don't know. I'm sorry.
You need to calm down.
I need to
for
calm
someone
down.
that cheated death.
I know.
God's testing you, and you're testing him right now. You wake up. It's a normal day.
It's a normal day. Dan's just got the Elden Ring DLC.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
I have not played it yet for a week because I've been working really hard on all the tour stuff. So I was so ready for this weekend.
So I'm watching him play that for a bit, and I was like, this is making me feel a bit dizzy. I'm feeling a bit, and you're like, it's probably just motion sickness. You're watching this, I'm spinning around my ancient shadow tree sword, and it's making me feel a bit weird. So I was like, I'm gonna go lay down for a bit, feeling more weird. Feeling like I've had 3 drinks. I'm not a heavy drinker. So 3 drinks.
You're getting lit, sat on the bed. Something's weird.
Something's weird. Then here comes the TMI part of it.
Oh,
prepare yourself. I'm like, I feel like I need to go to the bathroom. Gonna go to the bathroom. All I'm gonna say is it looked like a literal crime scene in there. It looked like some
Dexter.
Jigsaw has
Blastoise used hydro pump, except it was red.
Not only that, when you think it might stop after that, it continued to pour. So something is seriously wrong with me here.
Yeah, and you thought, well, look, this sometimes happens. Maybe it's like an aftershock from the pokey.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure it's fine. It was not fine. 10 minutes later, I came to Dan and say, I feel like I'm going to die.
I feel very weird.
I feel weird.
Very weird.
Let's go
maybe
to the hospital.
Hospital now.
Now.
And what I was not going to do was not take Phil to the hospital after he abandoned me going to the eye hospital by myself not 2 weeks ago.
I got flamed
so I was
about
like,
that.
yes, Phil.
We get in a taxi to the hospital. I'm clenching
We're not
my...
like ambulance. We're just going to go to the
go.
A&E.
It's probably quicker.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm clenching my butt cheeks so hard, so I don't want to like
You don't want to
make a mess.
skidoo all over the taxi.
Taxi driver's like,
All right, lads. So, what do you think about the Euros? Football.
don't talk to
Well,
me.
that was my worst
Don't
nightmare
talk
because
to
Phil
me.
was looking at me like, oh,
Speak.
I'm feeling
need to
dizzy.
say this.
Dan, you need to do it. I was like, you want me
Talk about
to
football.
do the football small talk with the cab driver?
Those balls.
He owes me so much right now. So, typical Dan and Phil moment. Taxi drops us off on the complete ironic, wrong end of the hospital.
Yeah.
Not the ass department.
No, we needed the ass
Yeah,
department.
no, the front entrance.
Yeah. In fact, what we were looking for was
The back door.
the A&E department, because I was in an emergency and I was having an accident.
So then we had to walk all the way around this building through the streets of London.
Man stops me like,
Hey, do you want to donate to the animals?
I'm
How
like,
are you
oh,
doing today?
well,
Have
no.
you got some money? Please put some money in the charity.
I
And Phil
can't.
was like, sir, if you don't get the hell out of my way, I'm going to shart blood into your charity. But like, you don't understand. Like, this is not a threat.
It's not a threat.
You want to save the pandas?
Yeah.
The pandas are. It's gonna. Oh, you move. But we shuffle around to the building.
We do.
We get in. There's about 6 people in the queue to get to the front desk. Where they go, hi.
Hi, welcome to Accident Emergency. What has fallen off today?
And Phil looks at me.
I look at you and go, I'm going to faint. The whole room was going black and white. I was getting fuzzies in my eyes.
And I was like, it's okay, buddy. We can sit you down in a chair. You've made it to the right place. We
Yes.
just need to speak to this lady, explain what's wrong, and then you can sit down. I'll get you a lilt. We got to the woman. She said, hi, who are you? What do you want? And Phil went, huh.
I hit the floor.
Phil passes out. Okay, go, no. What are you about to say?
Why didn't you catch
weren't
me?
here.
So, look.
Why didn't I catch you? Do you know how f***ing heavy you are?
Dan.
I did catch you.
You-
I was holding you.
Were you?
Right now. Phil, come on, let's
Right.
do this right now. I did try to catch Phil. This is what happened. Hi, I'm Phil. What? Ah! Exactly! People are really f***ing heavy!
Okay.
I tried! This is how I... So now Phil faint. Yeah. This is what I did. I was like, oh no, Phil's here. And then hold it. See? So yeah, I dropped Phil in like a nice backwards
okay,
way.
alright.
The lady behind the reception desk goes, ah! Which, you know,
I
like,
mean-
I'm sure they're used to not panicking, but it was very dramatic.
It was a
Like,
panic.
hi, how can I help you today? Well, my friend here is worried that he's gonna wabam. Okay,
Yes.
fine. And then Phil, who is no longer
Conscious.
decides to stop clenching, and it turns out Phil in the cab really needed to keep clenching because the
Yes.
moment that he didn't, the shining moment, I think it was coming out of your ankle hole in your trousers.
Yes.
And then because you fainted, you did a little roll and you
Oh,
basically
it's
spread it across the floor. So in about 5 seconds,
Yeah.
you were on the floor in an entire pool of your own blood, looking like a murder outline.
Yeah.
And I was also a bit like, okay, that's quite dramatic.
Yes.
And everyone in the room just started going like, ah! And because it's British, people try not to be dramatic, so you saw everyone go, huh!
Ooh.
Nope, just gonna...
Not gonna look at that.
Now a helpful man runs up from behind with a wheelchair and is like, get him in the chair! So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, let's get him in the
Get me
chair.
in the
So I'm
chair.
trying to pick you up. God, if I've been going to the gym, I need to go to more gym.
You
Because
need
me
to go
trying to
to
lift a
the Phil
whole
weight.
Phil into this chair, and this man's doing it, and it's like, we did it. And then this man in scrubs runs out, and he goes, what are you doing? Did this guy just faint? And we're like, yes, but don't worry, because we got him.
He's in a chair.
In the chair.
I don't
Like,
remember this.
If he's fainted, you don't put him in a chair, you put him on the floor.
Oh, yes.
So we scoop Phil out of the chair, and then this man in scrubs is just holding Phil's ankles in the air.
Anyway, that worked.
If this wasn't very dramatic and terrifying, it would have looked really funny and silly.
I'm
'Cause imagine
laughing
this
now.
man just going like that. I'm stood there going like this.
Yeah.
And you've got to hand it to the readiness of the people in accident emergency because they
Yeah.
saw this from across the room, and the people that were in the resuscitation, it's in like the pre-ICU thing,
Yeah.
they were like, bed, get all the stuff out. 5 people were there. They lifted Phil onto the bed. They wheeled him round the corner, and I was like, I've got his shoes. I'm coming.
You just like holding my shoes.
Why
are my shoes off?
Sorry everybody for the inconvenience. Very dramatic. Yeah. Someone's going to have to clean all that up of the flies.
I regain consciousness at this point, and I feel like I'm in an episode of Grey's Anatomy or ER or whatever.
For you,
Scrubs.
I cannot have imagined how confusing and terrifying
it was so weird.
To be.
And they were just going stat, vitals, and then sticking stuff to me and going order, levels, measurement, clear.
They did not say clear. They weren't doing that. You weren't quite there yet. You're back conscious at this point, and then you've got the IV, you've got the blood pressure, you've got the electrodes all over.
And I'm just being very British. Then I'm just like, so sorry for the inconvenience. I'm sure I'm fine.
Like it's this people's job to just save people's lives all day, every day when dramatic stuff happens. And you're like, I'm so sorry. I know you've all got places to be.
And they're just like, stop talking.
Shut up.
Let us do the thing.
And I'm just stood in the corner holding Phil's glittery Dan and Phil backpack, like,
yes.
Hi.
They give me this drug that thickens your blood. So that essentially stopped the bleeding.
Thickening.
Yeah. And turned me into like liquid Haribo on the inside.
Whatever the that means.
Jam?
Yeah.
Jam. And that meant they didn't have to immediately worry anymore because they knew I was all thick inside and sticky.
At this point, I was officially in the way.
You were.
So I was like, what should I do? And they said, come here. And they put me in the relatives room, which was a little cupboard on the other side.
Yeah.
Who were you? The ICU.
Who were you with there?
It was me and a very old lady that was just sat there like...
You could have made a friend.
And I was like, well, this is pretty weird.
We could have brought Doreen on holiday.
I understand that they want you to not be in the way. It is pretty scary having a friend just go into the ICU and then they're like, go in this cupboard. We'll get you a necessary. And I was like, well, now what the hell am I doing? Because I had all this adrenaline. So I was like, well, I brought my laptop. I guess I'm just going to edit the tour trailer. So I was just sat in this relative's room going...
I mean, you did a good job.
Open Chrome... Complications of what was the medicine that he got? Yeah, so probably shouldn't have done that. But, kept occupied.
Then they did a blood test and realised what had happened to me was quite serious, as I'd lost a lot of blood.
A lot of it was on the floor.
I needed a blood transfusion, which means they got a bag of someone else's blood. Thank you to whoever donated blood. Go do it if you
blood.
can.
Look, you kept Phil alive.
You kept me alive. Maybe I've got some of you in me. That was weird. And as they were pumping me with Kyle's blood, I started to kind of perk up a little bit.
Yes, that was the problem.
Hello, I'm back.
Lost the blood, you had some... And I was low-key like, is this an improvement for you? Because your blood, it can't be the good shit. You know what I mean? Maybe we've got an Olympian's blood.
I hope so.
Maybe Kyle was straight, and maybe Phil is now 20% straight.
Maybe I like boobs now. I've not looked at a boob. Wait, let me just Google boob.
This is my laptop.
I just
Google boobs in your own time.
Okay.
This process was ages. I'm going to say at least 2 hours. And I was like, is Phil dead?
What's happening?
What is going on? And I get they don't want to tell you things while things are happening. If you're not high priority, there's probably lots of people there that had imminent things happening. And if Phil was kind of stable, if you wait over there while we reattach this foot to somebody, I needed answers.
So you went on the hunt.
I went for a wander. I was like, I feel like it was a left. And then it was a right, and it was past 2 other people's hospital beds, and then it was this one on the left. So I was splinter selling, I was sneaking, I was doing my thing, I was trying not to get in the way of people. Hi, after you, don't mind me. I turned around the corner, I was like, buddy, how you doing? And I noticed it was a guy handcuffed to a bed with 6 police officers.
Oh, that was not me. Or something very dramatic happened in those 2 hours.
I don't know what the feel, but I was like, oh, you're someone that has done... or been involved with big crime.
Large crime.
I definitely should not be here. They might be thinking I'm here to do some whacking. Or as I just shuffled backwards, and then I said, hi, my friend Phil. I don't know where he was. I think it was in Reese's Pieces 3. Where'd you go? Just like, yeah, over here. Went around the corner. Phil's just sat there going...
I was zoned out.
Thick.
They'd given me the thick juice. They give me some other juice. I don't know what it was. I've also got naked at this point, so I'm just wearing...
Phil had no clothes.
No.
All his clothes were in a Sainsbury's bag.
A bloody Sainsbury's bag.
Yep.
And I just had one of those gowns on where my butt was out at the back.
Fashion.
And then they took me for a fun scan called a CT angiogram.
Wow.
Where they put some dye in you and then look at where it's going.
Where is the hole?
Let's
put
hole?
some dye in the blood and see where the blood comes out.
We kind of knew where it was going to be.
Yeah.
The machine made me laugh, because you're meant to hold your breath, right, when it does it. So it goes... hold your breath.
Yeah,
except
very important.
the machine goes, hold your breath. And I was... every time it did it, I was like...
You're going into the giant tube of doom.
Whoever said it,
Yeah.
breath.
Can we please rebrand to have a more normal voiceover?
Yes.
In the CT
So that made me laugh and I always mess it up, but I didn't.
Why?
They looked at the picture and said, yes.
Basically, they found out that when they took a biopsy from Phil, they nicked an artery.
Yes.
And this is something that simply is incredibly unlikely to happen. I think it was 0.05%.
They were like a 1 in 5 to 10,000 chance, and the doctors were like, we've never seen this
They were
happen
just
to
like,
anyone.
wow, yeah, there's no way to say this. You are just that unlucky.
You're so unlucky.
The chances of that being right there, and then they went in and they did something completely harmless, and
Yeah.
it just so happened to be in exactly, perfectly the wrong place. That is so unlikely.
Great.
Helpful.
Very cool.
I'm sure that made Phil feel so much better. It was fine.
It was
We
okay.
ended up in the right place at the right
Yeah.
time.
The chances of this are so small. I do not want this to put anyone off getting any kind of surgery, colonoscopy,
any
anything.
kind of investigative.
It's so
thing.
safe. I'm
Do
just
it, but then just go to the
lucky.
hospital if you have any suspicions about it.
Anyway, then I was like, Dan, can you just go get me some stuff?
Yeah.
Like, just go home, grab me
you
a
had
bag.
no clothes.
I have no clothes.
You didn't have
My ass is out.
AirPods.
Is my ass going to be out for the rest of the
Flapping
time?
out for the god, I don't know, man.
Turns out, yes, it was. So I sent Dan home. Then they transfer me to a ward, which was actually nice. NHS, you did me well.
Phil was put in like
It was
a
a
penthouse
nice
apartment.
It was a nice route. I was like, okay.
Phil was on like the 17th floor with a view of
Yeah.
like panoramic London skyline.
I think it's because I was the person that needed their own toilet, essentially, because of my delicate
Yes, they
nature.
did not want. No, that would be bad for the other people.
Yeah. So then Nurse Susan comes in and she's like, oh, hey, how you going? We're going to move you. Hey, where's all your stuff gone? Did your son take it? Did your son take it? What? First of all, fuck you for having a child face. Second of all, I hope the nurse had forgot their glasses.
Imagine being Phil, drugged out on this bed, dead ass, literally,
Yeah.
nearly died, and then some nurse goes, oh, was that your son that was just with
Oh
you
my
that
God.
took your clothes home?
Look, I think what happened is, because I was so dishevelled and pale, and I have white hair now, they just glanced at me and thought I was an old man.
This is an old man.
That's got to
This
be
is-
it.
He's 78. Because you don't look 52.
I don't look 52.
Like, you must either look your age or quadruple your age.
Please. Anyway, that gave me a complex
That's funny as hell.
for the rest of the day.
Blonde moment. It's been very good for Phil. He deserved to have one
Yeah.
traumatically devastating comment.
I think so. So then they came to tell me that I would need surgery in the morning to kind of go up there, do a little stitching, get it all back to normal.
Clean those pipes out.
And then I had the worst anxiety-induced sleep ever.
Good night, bye.
Bye. There was a lot of beeping.
Oh my god,
Oh,
when we were in that
chatting.
recess room for 9 hours, we love medicine and science, thank you.
Can they invent
So
something
many- beep,
that's not a beep?
Beep, boop, beep, 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 boop, beep, beep. How do they work there?
I don't know. So many beeps. But I did get a little bit of sleep. And during that sleep, I had a delightful dream. And that was all about my favourite VPN.
Oh my god.
The sponsor of this video,
This just became unethical.
NordVPN.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Look, I was meant to do my Nord video last week, and I had to email them and be like, hey, I died. Can I do it in a week? And they were like, yeah, sure.
Shout out to our flexible
We love them.
sponsors, NordVPN.
Yay.
Let Phil delay it because of his
Death.
near death.
Are you gonna leave while I talk about
Are
NordVPN?
you gonna give me some of your sponsorship?
You will love it.
I'm just gonna sit here and eat this peach. Insert my Army Hammer joke from World.
No, right. NordVPN is the perfect way to protect your browser, especially if you're in a place like a hotel, and it gives you a secure internet browsing experience. Same thing if you're in a shared house. Someone could be hacking into the router going, oh, what's Tommy looking at night? Well, you don't have to worry, Nord's got your back. And being in a foreign country, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I could watch that show, but I can't because it's not available here. The Nord Fairy is here. Change your location.
House of the Dragon is still on the menu.
Yeah, House of the Dragon. You can jump over to Japanese streaming services, watch your anime. It's just click of a button, lives there in the top of your browser, boop, change your location, and you can have it on your phone and your laptop at the same time. So you are covered in all directions. If this sounds like music to your ears, you can go to nordvpn.com/AmazingPhil for 4 months extra for free. Dan, how tasty is the peach?
Bueno.
That is how I feel about NordVPN. Thank you for sponsoring me.
Oh,
Come
man,
back.
you said juicy.
Oh, juicy.
Phil was like, oh, thanks, Dan. Try to enjoy some Elden Ring. I was like, well, at midnight, after being in hospital for 12 hours, after the most traumatic day ever, no.
Maybe it'd make you better at the game, the adrenaline, you know? Next morning, a lovely lady comes in and says, we're going to give you general anesthetic.
Fun.
Do you have any wobbly teeth? Because sometimes we knock them out. I was like, what?
Good
Really?
morning.
No.
Also, by this point, you hadn't eaten in 36 hours?
I was ravenous. Nil by mouth. No water, no food, nothing. They take me down to the anaesthetic room and there's loads of nice people. They were all lovely, actually. They were like, okay, we're just going to give you something that's going to make you a little bit woozy, but it's not the anaesthetic. I was like, oh yeah, okay, sure.
They lied.
They lied.
Hi, how are you today? Just having a nice... the bitch fell for it again.
Yes.
Silly little sleeping
I
sack.
wanted to chase it because I saw some TikToks of people trying to like stay awake as long as they could, but I didn't even know.
Why would you try doing that?
I don't know.
What if you tried to chase it so hard that you're like, ha, psych, I beat the anaesthetic. Ah!
Yeah.
At this point, I did just do some gaming.
Yes.
Phil's going to text me if he lives or dies.
For sure. I'll text you if I die. It's so weird. You don't even feel like you've slept. It's like, and you're awake.
Ooh.
It's like a teleport.
Spooky.
Very spooky. So I woke up, I was very groggy because I had morphine and the other opioid starting with fent and ending in nil. I don't want them to like...
Oh my god. So
Yeah.
Phil was extremely
I was
vibing right
zazzed.
now.
I had a very hot doctor who had to sit next to me when
Of
I
course
was...
you do. Why are these the
I don't
moments in
know.
life where you get the hot doctor?
And I was feeling very confident. So he was
Oh yeah, I
like...
think Phil's annoying usually.
Yeah.
Meet opiate Phil.
So he was like, what do you do for work? And normally I'd just say, oh, I'm a video editor. But I
Try
was
to
like,
downplay it.
I was just feeling very honest. I was like, I'm a YouTuber. I've got a channel called Dan and Phil Games. And he was like, oh, what? Well, I'll load it up on my phone. And he said,
Oh my god.
I could be a YouTuber. I was like, yeah, and I could talk about this in a video. Maybe I'll mention you. I think I was being so annoying. And he was just like,
Wow.
Okay, mate.
Okay, you either impressed or really terrified that hot doctor.
both. They said the surgery was a success.
Lovely work.
No longer bleeding. Everything is good with my butt.
Stitched up.
Yeah, will be sore for a few weeks.
Understandable.
Yeah, been sitting on a few cushions, I'll tell you that much. The bad news was I had to stay in hospital for a whole extra day.
We're gonna need to monitor you.
Super boring.
Although I suppose you'd rather be monitored than not.
Yes, still being annoying. I got taken into my room and someone was like, do you want some tea and biscuits? And I saw the sign that said nil by mouth. And I was like, now I'm more snack by mouth.
You did not
I
say
did,
that.
but in my head that was hilarious because I was on drugs.
So you're like, I just made an amazing joke, and they're like, you just said a normal sentence
Yeah.
as if you said an amazing joke.
Yes, and then I was given the best breakfast of my life,
Oh,
which was
what?
some brown toast and butter. Do you know when you're just craving that
That real,
real
like Hovis.
slut toast?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
the plainest, brownest piece of bread,
chompiest.
and then just some butter and a coffee.
Yeah. Then I texted Dan, said survived and everything had gone
yeah,
well.
yeah.
This is when I was expecting a text back being like, oh my god, I'm so happy, you're
You're so
alive,
brave."
well done. Do you know what he said? Okay.
I thought
Okay.
this was the first in a like list of texts.
No, that was the text. Thanks, Dan. So to punish him, I sent you a big list of things to
Phil's
bring tonight.
rider.
What,
Jesus
have you got
Christ.
it?
Wait, let's see if it's here. Plan, can you please come at 5 and bring a Wagamama's chicken salad, no chili, and a Lucozade and their healthy juice and some cutlery. Remember to tick it on the app. Or bring some, also, glittery bag with a vanilla protein shake, some toothbrush, toothpaste, mini Mac and charger and headphones, joggers, the Sophia Nygaard ones.
Yes.
Large boxes, maybe the black ones with a cat on, large seaming socks, maybe with some white ones that are on the drying rack, a My Hero Academia hoodie, my white t-shirt from the utility specific, and the remaining Milky Bar buttons.
That was a list.
Okay.
I knew what I wanted, and I knew you could provide all of it.
Okay. That's what happens if I don't bring the white t-shirt from the utility room? Is Phil going to just lose his shit
I
on
will.
me?
I'll
Jesus Christ.
Throw you out the window.
When Phil loses his shit, it's going to be a real mess.
It
like
will.
the floor.
Stop, we're not thinking about that anymore.
Okay.
So I didn't realise they were just about to give me painkillers again. So Dan arrived, walked in the door like,
What's up, buddy?
hey Phil, and I was just
Phil's
like,
Woo!
So I wasn't very conversational, was I?
Thank God.
We just put
should do that more
some
often.
below deck on and watched that for a bit.
3 days later.
I was free to go after that.
Phil was just like, I'm coming home. I was like, what, by yourself?
And I was like, actually,
Yeah,
good
I'm in the
thing,
car.
because I looked at my phone and the Australians had just leaked the tour.
Yeah,
while I was sat in
Shout out
hospital.
to Ticketmaster Australia. Look, here's the thing with touring. We
Someone's-
can try as hard as possible
It's always going to get leaked.
to have a plan. Someone is going to f it up.
So that happened. We had to preemptively do all the announcements.
Just post a cheeky
while
poster
I was
a day
lying
early.
in bed with my ass in the air, just hoping I didn't move. Since then, I've been all right. Actually, it's not been too
A
painful.
lot of lying down.
Lots of painkillers.
Well, this was like a couple of days before we were going to come here, and we were like, can we go on a holiday right now?
Yeah.
Or is this completely ruined that?
They just said don't jump in the sea at high velocity, and also don't go on a jet ski. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've just been taking it easy, and it's been nice.
You've basically just been sleeping
And reading.
for 24 hours a day.
But I'm going to be fine, and I've decided not to take any personal trauma from this. No anxiety.
Yes.
It's fine.
You're just going to put it in a little box, say that it was fine, everything worked out.
Use humour
Scoot.
as a coping
Exactly.
mechanism.
Also, we've got shit to film. We've got a tour to
We
do
do.
now, so you need to get fit and ready for whatever kind of bullshit we're going to do on that stage.
I'm pumped full of Olympian blood.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Phil's got that 30% straight in him now, and he is ready to deliver a performance.
I am.
It was slightly traumatic in the moment. And it's one of these things where, look, if a thing happens and you kind of get through it and then you're fine and then your body heals, because that's what people do, then you can kind of get over it. So there's not much point dwelling.
I'm not going to dwell
on the flashback. If Phil didn't go to A&E,
we don't
we
do
don't
that.
talk
We
about
don't.
it because he did and it was fine.
And I've worked through my health
Yes.
anxiety in therapy, and I've got coping mechanisms to deal with. When I get those thoughts, I can be like, no. Anyway, that's what happened to me.
Yeah,
Don't
no clickbait.
I don't want loads of sympathy in the comments. I'm
No,
fine.
we're over it. No, he doesn't need it.
Feel free to laugh at me.
He had a hot doctor.
It's fine.
Yeah. Shout out to the NHS.
Yes.
Phil thought he was feeling bad, called a doctor. Phil just went to A&E, didn't get charged anything.
Yeah.
Bunch of people saved his life, got blood, got a CT scan, had an angiographic dye out of the whole wazoo.
Yeah.
2 days in a lovely hospital, got his slutty toast. Thanks.
All free. Thank you, NHS.
And all
Love
of the
you.
amazing nurses and doctors, because I was there and they were all super
They were all so
chill.
kind, friendly, joking around. It was great. Except the one that called Dan my son. You are on my naughty list. Time to go on a bloody tour.
So when Phil said the other day, we're not taking anything for granted and we're going to really enjoy this tour that we're going on, Phil really means
I
that
did.
in like a Jesus Christ kind
And
of way.
it's bloody happening soon. So please come. I really, really want to see you there. Go to
This
danandphil.com.
might be it.
I don't have long, guys. Tickets are on sale right now.
We are going to be adding more shows in the UK and the USA because some have already started to sell out. So if you don't
Yeah.
want to miss your chance to see Dan and Phil in real life, check now before we're gone forever.
Also, Australia is going very fast as well. So if you're a koala, you might want to check before some of them go.
Give us that chlamydia.
No chlamydia. Also, because I totally didn't forget, go to nordvpn.com/AmazingPhil for 4 months extra for free. Thanks for sponsoring the video and for giving me nice dreams while I was in the hospital. Nord. Go watch our mukbang.
Yes, I edited that video with a pina colada, so if I left anything weird in there, sorry.
Interesting.
Try my best.
Subscribe
It's
to
been
me.
A rough couple of weeks.
Subscribe to the gaming
Lot of
channel.
work.
Have a lovely day. Hopefully, our flight is not cancelled tomorrow.
Have this peach. Go lie down. See you next time.
Bye.